Battle of Los Angeles remains one of the most enigmatic episodes of World War II. This mysterious event unfolded over Los Angeles, California, from late February 24th to early February 25th, 1942, just months after the United States had entered the war following the attack on Pearl Harbor. The incident, characterized by a chaotic anti-aircraft artillery barrage, has since been enveloped in a fog of speculation, fear, and conspiracy theories. In the tense months following Pearl Harbor, the American public, particularly on the West Coast, was on edge. The fear of a Japanese invasion loomed large, stoked by frequent rumors and occasional attacks on American merchant ships by Japanese submarines. The bombardment of Elwood near Santa Barbara on February 23, 1942, only heightened these fears. Residents of coastal cities like Juneau, Oakland, and Seattle were gripped by paranoia, leading to blackouts and civil defense measures. As the U.S. geared up for war, anti-aircraft guns were installed, bunkers were built, and air raid drills became a part of daily life. The stage was set for the events of February 24, 1942. On that fateful evening, the Office of Naval Intelligence issued a stark warning. An attack on mainland California could be expected within the next 10 hours. This set off a chain reaction of events that would culminate in one of the most bewildering nights in Los Angeles history. Air raid sirens blared across Los Angeles County at 2:25 a.m., plunging the city into darkness with a total blackout order. Thousands of air raid wardens took their positions, ready to respond to any threat. At 3:16 a.m., the 37th Coast Artillery Brigade began firing machine guns and anti-aircraft shells into the sky, targeting what was believed to be enemy aircraft. Over 1,400 shells were fired in a frantic effort to repel the supposed attackers. The artillery fire continued sporadically until 4:14 a.m., causing damage to several buildings and vehicles. Tragically, 5 civilians lost their lives as an indirect result of the chaos, 3 in car accidents and 2 from heart attacks. The incident dominated headlines on the West Coast and across the nation, sparking a wave of speculation and fear. In the immediate aftermath, Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox held a press conference, dismissing the incident as a false alarm triggered by war nerves. However, this explanation did little to quell the speculation. Some believed the incident was a cover-up for an actual invasion by enemy planes, while others thought it might have been part of a psychological warfare campaign by enemy agents. Adding to the confusion, contemporary press outlets suggested a government cover-up. The Long Beach Independent editorialized about a mysterious reticence surrounding the affair, hinting at censorship and the suppression of the truth. Theories abounded, from secret enemy bases in northern Mexico to Japanese submarines capable of launching planes. Representative Leland M. Ford of Santa Monica called for a congressional investigation, dubbing the episode a complete mystification. Further complicating matters, the Japanese government later declared that they had flown no airplanes over Los Angeles during the war. In 1983, the U.S. Office of Air Force History attributed the event to a meteorological balloon and war nerves, concluding that stray flares and shell bursts from adjoining batteries had amplified the panic. Yet the mystery persisted. A photo published in the Los Angeles Times on February 26, 1942, became a focal point for UFO conspiracy theories. Some claimed it showed searchlights converging on an alien spaceship, though the photo had been heavily retouched, a common practice at the time to enhance contrast in black and white images. Every February, the Fort MacArthur Museum commemorates the event with an entertainment event called the Great LA Air Raid of 1942, keeping the memory of that night alive. The incident has also inspired various cultural depictions, from Steven Spielberg's 1979 comedy 1941 to the 2011 film Battle, Los Angeles. As we delve deeper into the events of that night, we encounter key figures who played pivotal roles. Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox, with his dismissive false alarm statement, and Representative Leland M. Ford, who demanded a thorough investigation, are central to the narrative. The air raid wardens and the artillerymen of the 37th Coast Artillery Brigade, who fired into the night sky, are also crucial, their actions driven by the fear and uncertainty of the time. The initial incident, an unidentified object in the sky triggering a massive anti-aircraft response, remains the core mystery. Was it a weather balloon, as some official reports suggest? Or was it something more sinister, as conspiracy theorists believe? The lack of concrete evidence only adds to the enigma, leaving us with more questions than answers. As we continue to explore this mystery, we'll gather clues, introduce subplots, and present challenges that deepen our understanding of that night. We'll re-examine the evidence, increase the stakes, and confront significant obstacles, all leading to a final confrontation and resolution. The Battle of Los Angeles air raid is not just a historical event. It's a puzzle that beckons us to uncover its secrets, one piece at a time. The tension in Los Angeles was palpable as the city braced for an attack that never came. The air raid wardens, ordinary citizens thrust into extraordinary roles, patrolled the darkened streets, their hearts pounding with each distant boom of artillery. Inside homes and shelters, families huddled together, their faces illuminated by the flickering glow of candlelight. The sky above was a cacophony of searchlights and explosions, a surreal dance of light and shadow that seemed to defy explanation. In the days that followed, the city was abuzz with rumors and speculation. Eyewitness accounts varied wildly, with some claiming to have seen enemy planes, while others spoke of mysterious lights and shapes in the sky. The press, eager for sensational stories, fueled the frenzy with headlines that hinted at government cover-ups and extraterrestrial visitors. For Secretary Knox and Representative Ford, the incident became a battleground of public opinion. Knox, a staunch defender of the official narrative, faced mounting pressure from Ford and other skeptics who demanded answers. Their clash highlighted the broader struggle between trust in government and the allure of conspiracy, a theme that resonated deeply with a public still reeling from the shock of Pearl Harbor. As we peel back the layers of this historical enigma, we uncover a tapestry of human emotions: fear, courage, confusion, and resilience. The Battle of Los Angeles air raid is a story of a city under siege, not by an external enemy, but by the shadows of its own fears. It is a reminder of the power of the unknown, and the lengths to which we will go to make sense of the inexplicable. In our quest for answers, we will revisit the key moments of that night, analyze the evidence, and explore the myriad theories that have emerged over the decades. We will hear from historians, experts, and those who lived through the event, piecing together their insights to build a comprehensive picture of what truly happened. The journey ahead is fraught with challenges, but it is also filled with the promise of discovery. The Battle of Los Angeles air raid is not just a tale of wartime paranoia. It is a window into the human psyche, a reflection of our deepest fears and our unyielding quest for truth. As we navigate this labyrinth of history, we invite you to join us in uncovering the secrets of that fateful night, and in understanding the legacy it has left behind. The Battle of Los Angeles air raid remains one of the most enigmatic episodes of World War II. As the city of Los Angeles braced for an attack that never came, the events of that night have continued to spark curiosity and speculation. Our protagonist, a determined historian named Dr. Emily Carter, begins her journey by revisiting the key moments of that fateful night. Armed with a notebook and a keen eye for detail, Dr. Carter sets out to uncover the truth behind the chaos. Her first stop is the Fort MacArthur Museum, where the annual commemoration event, the Great LA Air Raid of 1942, is in full swing. Here, she hopes to find eyewitnesses and experts who can shed light on the events of February 24th to 25th, 1942. Navigating through the crowd, snippets of conversations float by, fragments of memories from those who lived through the night. An elderly man, his voice tinged with the weight of years, recounts how he and his family huddled in their basement, listening to the distant booms of anti-aircraft fire. A woman, her eyes bright with the fervor of belief, speaks of mysterious lights in the sky, convinced they were not of this world. Dr. Carter approaches a group of veterans, their uniforms adorned with medals and insignia. One of them, an air raid warden from that night, recalls the sheer confusion and panic that gripped the city. "We were ready for anything," he says, his voice steady. But nothing could have prepared us for what we saw or didn't see. Determined to dig deeper, Dr. Carter arranges interviews with key figures who played pivotal roles that night. First on the list is a retired artilleryman from the 37th Coast Artillery Brigade. Sitting in his modest home, surrounded by memorabilia from his military days, the artilleryman recounts the frantic moments when the order to fire was given. "We were shooting at shadows," he admits, a hint of frustration in his voice. "Every burst of light in the sky looked like an enemy plane, but we never found any wreckage. Nothing." Next, Dr. Carter meets with a former journalist who covered the incident for the Long Beach Independent. Over coffee in a quaint cafe, the journalist shares his experiences of the aftermath. "The official explanation of a false alarm didn't sit well with many of us," he says, tapping his fingers on the table. "There were too many unanswered questions, too many inconsistencies. We suspected a cover-up, but we could never prove it." As Dr. Carter gathers these accounts, a pattern begins to emerge, a tapestry of fear, confusion, and conflicting narratives. But the mystery deepens when she stumbles upon a series of declassified documents from the U.S. Office of Air Force History. These documents, dated 1983, attribute the incident to a meteorological balloon and war nerves, but also mention stray flares and shell bursts that exacerbated the panic. Dr. Carter's curiosity is piqued. Could a weather balloon really have caused such widespread chaos? To find answers, Dr. Carter visits a retired meteorologist who worked for the military during the war. The meteorologist, now in his 90s but sharp as ever, welcomes her into his study. "Weather balloons were common," he explains, adjusting his glasses. "But they were not designed to cause panic. If one went off course, it could be mistaken for an aircraft, especially in those tense times. But the scale of the response that night was extraordinary." As Dr. Carter pieces together these clues, a subplot begins to unfold. Her own grandfather was an air raid warden during the Battle of Los Angeles, a fact that adds a personal dimension to the investigation. Her family had always spoken of the grandfather's bravery, but details were scarce. Determined to honor this legacy, Dr. Carter delves into family archives, uncovering letters and photographs that offer glimpses into her grandfather's experiences. Amidst these discoveries, Dr. Carter faces significant challenges. Red herrings abound, leading to misinterpretations and dead ends. One such red herring is a rumor of a secret Japanese base in northern Mexico, capable of launching planes over Los Angeles. She spends days chasing this lead, only to find it debunked by credible sources. Another challenge comes in the form of skeptics who dismiss her quest as a wild goose chase, citing the official false alarm explanation as conclusive. Despite these setbacks, Dr. Carter's resolve remains unshaken. The next clue comes from an unexpected source, a UFO enthusiast who believes the incident was an extraterrestrial encounter. While skeptical, Dr. Carter agrees to meet the enthusiast, hoping to find a new angle to explore. The meeting, held in a dimly lit diner, is a mix of outlandish theories and tantalizing hints. The enthusiast produces a copy of the infamous Los Angeles Times photo, claiming it shows searchlights converging on an alien spaceship. Dr. Carter examines the photo, noting the heavy retouching but also the eerie alignment of the lights. As the investigation progresses, Dr. Carter's personal life becomes intertwined with the quest for truth. Balancing family responsibilities and the demands of the investigation proves challenging. Late nights poring over documents and early mornings conducting interviews take a toll, but her determination is unwavering. The climax of this act comes when Dr. Carter uncovers a long-forgotten report from the Western Defense Command, dated February 26, 1942. This report, buried in the archives, suggests that enemy agents using commercial airplanes in a psychological warfare campaign could have caused the incident. Dr. Carter's heart races as the pieces fall into place. Could this be the missing link? She reaches out to a military historian who specializes in psychological warfare. Their conversation, held in the historian's cluttered office, is illuminating. Psychological warfare was a real threat, the military historian explains. The goal was to create fear and confusion, to make the enemy doubt their own defenses. It's possible that the Battle of Los Angeles was a test of such tactics. Armed with this new perspective, Dr. Carter prepares to present her findings. The journey has been long and fraught with challenges, but the pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together. The Battle of Los Angeles air raid, once shrouded in mystery, is beginning to reveal its secrets. Dr. Carter's quest for truth is far from over, but the path ahead is clearer than ever. As we move forward, the stakes will increase, and the obstacles will grow more formidable. But with each step, we come closer to understanding the events of that fateful night and the legacy it has left behind. The Battle of Los Angeles air raid is not just a story of wartime paranoia. It is a testament to the enduring power of curiosity and the unyielding quest. Dr. Emily Carter sat in her study, the dim light of her desk lamp casting long shadows across a cluttered desk. Piles of documents, old photographs, and declassified reports surrounded her. Each piece of evidence, meticulously gathered over months of investigation, seemed to whisper its own version of the truth. Yet, the puzzle of the Battle of Los Angeles air raid remained frustratingly incomplete. She took a deep breath, her mind racing with the myriad of clues she had collected. The accounts from veterans and eyewitnesses, the official reports, and the tantalizing but unverified theories all swirled together in a chaotic dance. It was time to reevaluate, to sift through the noise and find the signal. Emily began by revisiting the testimonies of the air raid wardens and artillerymen. Their stories, filled with fear and confusion, painted a vivid picture of that night. The anti-aircraft barrage, the searchlights cutting through the sky, the distant booms and flashes. These were not the fabrications of overactive imaginations. But what had they really seen? Could it have been a weather balloon, as the U.S. Office of Air Force History suggested? Or was there something more, something that had eluded official explanations? Her thoughts turned to the declassified documents from 1983. The mention of stray flares and shell bursts that amplified the panic seemed plausible. But why had the panic been so intense? The Western Defense Command report hinted at psychological warfare, a tactic designed to sow fear and confusion. Emily's conversation with the military historian had shed light on this possibility, but she needed more concrete evidence. She decided to focus on the photo published in the Los Angeles Times. The heavily retouched image showed searchlights converging on a mysterious object. UFO enthusiasts claimed it was an alien spaceship, but Emily was skeptical. She needed to find the original, unaltered photo. A visit to the newspaper's archives might yield the answers she sought. At the archives, Emily was greeted by a helpful archivist who led her to the microfilm section. Hours passed as she scrolled through reel after reel of old newspapers. Finally, she found it, the original photo untouched by the retouching techniques of the time. The image was grainy, but the alignment of the searchlights was unmistakable. Whatever had been in the sky that night had captured the city's attention in a way that defied simple explanations. The stakes were higher now. Emily's investigation had narrowed down to a few key suspects: the weather balloon theory, the psychological warfare hypothesis, and the possibility of an unknown aircraft. Each path held its own dangers and moral dilemmas. She couldn't afford to chase every lead. She needed to be strategic. Her next step was to consult with an aviation expert. She reached out to a retired Air Force pilot who had flown during World War II. Meeting in a small cafe, the pilot shared his insights on the capabilities of aircraft at the time. He explained that while weather balloons were common, their appearance could easily be mistaken for enemy planes, especially in the heat of the moment. However, he also mentioned that some experimental aircraft were being tested in secret, hinting at the possibility of a classified military project gone awry. Emily's mind raced with this new information. Could the Battle of Los Angeles have been triggered by a secret military test? It seemed far-fetched, but stranger things had happened during wartime. She decided to follow this lead, reaching out to contacts in the military archives to see if any records of experimental flights existed. As she delved deeper, Emily encountered significant obstacles. Access to certain classified documents was denied, and some records had been conveniently lost over the years. Frustration mounted, but she refused to give up. Her determination was fueled by the memory of her grandfather, whose bravery during that night had inspired her quest for truth. One evening, as she pored over her notes, a breakthrough came in the form of an old letter. It was from her grandfather, written to her grandmother during the war. In it, he mentioned a strange encounter with a high-ranking officer who had hinted at a cover-up. The officer had spoken of an unidentified craft and the need to keep the public in the dark to avoid mass hysteria. Emily's heart pounded as she read the letter. This was the missing link she had been searching for. The combination of psychological warfare, secret military tests, and the official narrative of a weather balloon all pointed to a complex web of deception. The truth was not a single thread but a tapestry woven from many strands. With renewed vigor, Emily compiled her findings into a comprehensive report. She was ready to present her conclusions to the public, to shed light on one of the most enigmatic episodes of World War II. The journey had been long and fraught with challenges, but the pieces of the puzzle were finally coming together. As she prepared for the final confrontation, Emily knew that the legacy of the Battle of Los Angeles was more than just a historical curiosity. It was a testament to the enduring power of curiosity and the unyielding quest for truth. The shadows of that night had cast a long and lingering mystery, but now, at last, they were beginning to lift. The Battle of Los Angeles air raid remains a story of wartime paranoia, but it is also a reflection of our deepest fears and our relentless pursuit of understanding. Emily's journey is far from over, but the path ahead is clearer than ever. The truth, elusive and multifaceted, is within reach. Join us as we continue to unravel the mystery, one clue at a time.